Oat milk. I mean, I've put it in my tea. It's horrible, isn't it?
Absolutely not. You've clearly just not tried the right one. I swear there is a plant milk out there for everyone. And that's what PETA's video is celebrating. It's farmers who are growing crops, who are growing the oat milk that so many people do enjoy having in their coffees. In fact, 50% of the population almost is ordering a plant milk in their coffee at coffee shops these days. I mean, if you want to be vegan, that's up to you. Completely up to you. But what you're doing with the money that you've got, and you're a very well-funded organisation. I mean, you once gave Tony Blair £1 million towards his election campaign. You're a big, strong organisation. What you're trying to do is to change the lifestyle of the rest of us, isn't it? Well, what we're trying to do is improve the future of Britain's farmers. You know, the situation is not looking great for the future of farmers at the moment, because they're needing to adapt with the times more, because the future is plant-based, and it's time for farmers to turn their back on the heartbreak and violence of slaughtering animals.
Hang on. You know, sheep meat price is actually quite good at the moment. There's a very large number of people in Britain eat sheep meat on a regular basis. I think the sheep farmers are having quite a good time.
Well, I'm not quite sure what your sources are for that one, but if we look at all the other aspects, the future of the planet, we know that farming animals is single-handedly contributing to some of the worst effects of climate change. We know that billions of animals are suffering, living miserable lives, being put to slaughter. We know that disease is rampant throughout all of these industries at the moment. Bird flu is, you know...
Bird flu? I've seen gannets, dead gannets, floating down the English Channel. Quite a distressing sight.
Well,
actually.
absolutely, and imagine what it's like.
That has got nothing to do with turkey farming in East Anglia, has it?
Oh, well, just imagine what it is like for the farmers who have to witness this death and suffering day in and day out. It is a dirty and cruel business, and it takes a toll on these people's mental health.
So you're trying to protect the farmers?
Well, we're trying to back British farming, but farmers who are farming crops. That is what we're celebrating, and that is what the future is. We are going in a plant-based direction.
Farmers are proud. Dairy farmers are proud of their milk products, of their cream, of their butter, of their cheeses.
Well, a recent study revealed that 92% of farmers under 40 cited that poor mental health was one of the worst things that they were up against at the moment. And you can see why, when they're having to mutilate animals on a daily basis, cutting off pigs' tails, chopping the beaks off chickens, having to witness all of these...
We have been farming animals for hundreds of thousands of years. And I know plenty of people in the farming community who look after their animals incredibly well. So you literally want us to stop eating steak, to stop buying dairy milk.
Absolutely, but just look at what the consumer demand is at the moment. This is really extreme stuff.
I mean, you are a very extremist organisation.
Well, there's a lot of things that we've done throughout history that we are not doing today, because traditions change, culture changes, society changes, and we know that savvy farmers are going to move with the times, and we've already seen it. We've seen farmers who decided that they didn't want to be complicit in that cruelty anymore, and they have sent their cows to a sanctuary instead.
I'm really sorry. To say that farmers are complicit in cruelty is quite an insult to many farmers that will be watching this programme, because they're not complicit. They are not complicit in cruelty. They care for their animals very, very well. It's not fair to insult farmers in that way.
Well, it's definitely not insulting them, but how would you describe sending an animal who you'd reared from birth to a slaughterhouse where they're going to be strung up and shot through the head with a bolt gun? If that's not being complicit in something, I'm not quite sure what is.
Well, those animals wouldn't have existed had it not been for the meat industry.
Yeah, and they probably would have been glad for that, because their lives have been so miserable.
So what do we do? Do we now just slaughter all the stock? Is that what you'd like?
No, of course not. We're not saying that this is something that is going to happen overnight. This is something that is going to take time. And of course, it will give farmers time to transition as well. This is all about supply and demand. And of course, the less people who are drinking cow's milk, the less cows that need to be bred in order to produce it, and therefore they can turn to farming crops.
This is a real sort of North London, upper middle class.
I'm from Edinburgh.
wealthy, extreme view of the world that you want to impose upon everybody else. And I don't think everybody else wants it. And even the climate change argument. What is the point of any of this when the Chinese are building 80 new coal-fired power stations every year?
Well, I mean, what the Chinese are doing is out of my remit, but to think that you can't make a difference is not the right way to think about things. We all have a personal responsibility, and we can all make kinder choices by having plant-based milks, having vegan cheese, having a plant-based steak.
But we don't want to.
So many people do want to. You just don't want to yet, but there is still time. I wish I brought some things on for you to try.
No, listen, I get the passion. I mean, I think it's crackers, but I get the passion, and you believe in this, and I know that. Final thought. Driven bird shooting and angling, are they to be banned as well?
Absolutely. Of course they're meant to be banned.
I rest my case. I rest my case. They are a small extremist clique, but they believe in what they believe in, and, to be fair, there's a growing number of people who are going vegan. There's a growing number of people who are going for these options, and I understand that, and I respect that, which is why we have civilised debate on these issues.